This me is Queen Aset Haru, and thank you for joining me for another wonderful edition of Ask an Aquarius. If you haven't already, please hit the red subscribe button and smack the bell. So I was talking to a very young girl. She's 25 years old, and she has more than one guy she's interested in. But the guy that she likes the most told her that he does not want to get legally married. He said he's not opposed to a spiritual ceremony. He's not opposed to living together. He's not opposed to having children. He's just opposed to the institution of marriage. He thinks it's hypocritical. He thinks it's bullshit. And he thinks that he's like, I don't own you. You're my partner, not my property. So he doesn't like the whole concept and doesn't want to get legally married, even though he's open to a long-term monogamous relationship. He just doesn't think that the whole marriage aspect of it makes sense. So she asked me, does it make sense to get involved with him knowing he feels this way? Because she's thinking she should shy away from him, that she should get with somebody who is more open-minded in that area. And she wants me to tell her what I think. And honestly, I think we live in a time frame where lines are very blurred. Like the things that our ancestors and our grandparents and our parents even used to do are things that some of us still do, those traditions, and some of us have totally rejected. We're in a time period where it's normal not to get married. It's normal to shack up. It's normal. It's normal to have kids and not be married. It's normal to do what he's talking about. All of this is normal. Getting married is normal. All of this is normal. We live in a time period where people pretty much decide on their relationships and live them for themselves. It's got to be one of the freest times in relationship history, because we used to all do exactly the same thing. Everybody grew up, everybody wanted to get married, or most people anyway wanted to get married and eventually settle down and have a family. That was the basic plan of most people anyway. Now it's so many different possibilities. You can be in a polyamorous relationship. You can be in no relationship at all. There's open relationships. There's so many options now. So my thing to you is that it depends on what you want to do. You're 25 years old. So at this point in your life, you probably have an idea of what you want for your future. And if you're not certain if you want to get married or not, that's one thing, because you can both grow in your understandings. You might decide you don't even want to get married after being with him for a while. But if you are 100% certain that you want to be married one day, if marriage is your end game and you know that, then it's not intelligent to get with somebody who thinks that way. Because not that his thought process is wrong. I actually don't have a problem with his thought process. It sounds logical to me. But if you're somebody who knows that they want to get into a legal and binding marriage, and you're with somebody who has very strong feelings against it, then it would be foolish to get into a serious relationship with him and just hope he'll change his mind. You see, I wouldn't do that. And I would tell him that that's why I'm not doing it. I would be honest with him. I would be like, I really like you. You cool as shit. But I really want to get into a traditional marriage. I want a piece of paper. I want that. I want the matrimony. And because you don't, I'm going to just fall back. That's what I would tell him. I'm going to just fall back. And I wouldn't just fall back. I would drop off. Because if you keep on messing with him and you already like him more than the other ones, you might fall in love with him and then you're screwed, because you have to then go along with whatever type of relationship he's willing to hand you. If you know that's what you want, get with someone who has shared goals and shared values, shared vision. That's the problem with a lot of relationships. The two people don't have a shared vision. One person want to go one way, the other person want to go the other way. He's very clear on the direction he wants to go in. So if that direction is not cool for you, then I wouldn't keep seeing him. I would leave him. I would ghost him. I would disappear. I would tell him and I would disappear and move on to somebody else who wanted what I wanted. Now, if you're in a position where you're not sure what you want, or you really, you're still trying to figure it out, or marriage isn't really that big of a deal to you, then you may want to keep on seeing him then. Let me tell you a story. I have a friend, a really good friend. She's a Taurus. And she wanted to get married. That was something she's wanted her whole life. You know, since she was a little girl, she'd been planning her wedding. And when she got older and got with a gentleman and they were in a serious relationship, she started working in the direction on, you know, getting married, having kids and getting married. That was her plan. Well, homeboy didn't want to get married. Homeboy, I don't know what homeboy wanted to do, because honestly, it wasn't marriage. I think he just wanted to be with whoever he wanted to be with. I think he just wanted to play the field and just have sex with whoever he felt like it. So she got with this gentleman. They were in a relationship, which she thought was monogamous, but it probably wasn't the whole time. And she gave him an ultimatum, like, look, if you're not going to marry me, I'm out, you know? And he married her, but continued to do exactly what he was doing before. And they ended up getting divorced, and it was very ugly, and it was domestic violence and all this other shit, restraining orders and all that. But my thing is that, and we talked about this after the fact, but my thing is that as soon as she realized that he did not want what she wanted, she shouldn't have gave him an ultimatum. She should have just walked. Period. Because a lot of times with a man, if they don't want what you want and you give them an ultimatum and they give in to your ultimatum, they resent you. No matter what it was, afterwards they resent you because they did some shit they really didn't want to do. So they're never going to really cooperate because they're resentful of the fact that they did it in the first place. So I wouldn't do that to myself. As soon as he said he didn't want to get married, I would have been like, okay. And I just would have left him. I just would have left. I wouldn't have argued with him about it. I wouldn't have brought it up again. I would have just left, because the bottom line is that if you give them that ultimatum, a lot of times they will give in to the ultimatum. A lot of men will. Not all of them. Some of them, throw a hissy fit and leave on their own. But some of them will give in and then resent you and then act a fool and not cooperate through the whole process. So if I were you, I would not do that to myself, because that could be a very ugly situation. Instead of doing that, like in the case of my friend, instead of doing that, I just would have left. I just would have said, okay. If somebody doesn't, one thing I learned is if somebody doesn't want what you want in a relationship, don't try to force it. Because that's what I did in the past. I tried to force the person, or, some of the other people that I know tried to force the person to do what we want them to do. And even if they love you or care about you or have an emotional attachment to you, that's not going to work. So he's already telling you how he feels. He has a very strong conviction about this. So if you feel like you really want to get married one day, leave him alone. If you're open to what he's suggesting, then go right ahead and see him. But from the conversation I had with you, you sound like, to me, you're not certain, but you're leaning towards the traditional thoughts about marriage and family. And you're not dealing with a traditional gentleman. So if I were you, I wouldn't get serious about him, at least while that's his thought process. I mean, who knows? He might change his mind in 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, and you might see him again, and he might be like, oh, it's good to see you. And, you might find out he changed his mind and is ready to do something new. Maybe this is just where he's at right now. But I wouldn't keep seeing him through the process. I would just fall back. Because if you keep seeing him and he doesn't change his mind, and this is really what you want, you've then wasted your time. So I will fall back. Quite frankly, based on, your energy, I would fall back. You said you had other prospects, 2 or 3 other prospects. So I would just fall back and, continue dating until I found someone who has what I call shared values and shared goals. That's what is going to get you a compatible relationship. Somebody who wants what you want. If you get with somebody who doesn't get what you want, you might get what you want. It's a gamble. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't gamble with my happiness. I saw a statistic one time, and I've told some of you this before, and it said that your chances for happiness increase by 50%. 50% by marrying the right person. So by default, 50% decrease by marrying the wrong person. So if you want to be truly happy, you have to get with the right person or stay by yourself. Those are the two options that you have. So in your particular case, you got other options. I would kiss him goodnight and keep it moving, you know? And not just that, to be honest with you, a lot of men say that kind of thing when they just want to play the field. They'll say, oh, you know, I don't really want to get married. I just want to have a long-term relationship. Some of the times that's a real honest ideal coming from this brother. You know, he really feels like marriage is ass. And sometimes that's just what players say to keep on playing, you see? So he doesn't sound like he's ready for what you want, period. So I would just move on. You're beautiful and there's other fish in the sea. So don't waste too much time on that. Unless he's talking what you want to hear. And not even talking what you want to hear, doing what you want to see. Because remember, talk is cheap. So I wouldn't do that to myself. Okay? Hope that helps you. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you know somebody who's in a similar situation, please send them this video and tell them I said think about it very carefully. All right? If you'd like to send me a gift, I will leave my wish list. If you would like to send me a donation, I will leave my PayPal information. Thank you all for every single donation. Every kind. I got books. I got people who have sent me gifts. Thank you for everything. Thank you so much. And likewise, if you would like to get a reading done, I will leave my email address so you can email me for an appointment. You can email me if you have a question for Asking Aquarius. And you can also hit me up on social media because sometimes I'm on Facebook and I'm on Instagram. So you can drop me a message there too. All right, guys. Happy Friday, and I will see you later.